Yeah. If you hear any screams, it's because Nazanin is screaming.
Because you got a baby.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, here we go. What's going on, people? This is the Roons Mizz Arsenal podcast. I'm Roons,
Mizz.
and we come at you the day before the season starts to give you a primer on all things Arsenal. Mizz Day, if you had to rate how we're doing and what the season looks like ahead of us, what would you say?
Yeah, I think business wise and like how we're looking, I put us at like an 8 or a 9 just on transfer business in the summer. I don't know how much better it could have been for what we're looking for. I think we even kind of messed with some teams. Like I'm pretty sure we drove the price on Lazaro Martinez at United, just staying in to Zinchenko, which was I think the main target anyway. So I it looks like we're being cheeky about some things again, which is like that's nice to see. And getting the likes of Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko and Saliba back feels like another new signing, and he looks quality.
Saliba is our best center back.
I know, which it gives us like almost like a dilemma because I really like Ben White and Gabriel, and it's like, how do you play all these guys? Like, but you know what? It's better to have that depth than not have it. So,
right. Like before, I used to be kind of like, oh, well, someone's going to have to sit out. And now I'm like, no, you need an extra person who's just as good.
For sure.
He can't play because eventually he'll have to play.
And we got Europa League this year again, so we're gonna need some squad depth. Tierney gets hurt a lot. Tommy Asu's had some injuries, so at least White can play out there. Zinchenko, like I bet you the back four tomorrow is White on the right, Saliba, Gabriel, and Zinchenko. I'd be willing to bet that that's the starting back four tomorrow because and that's a good back four. I mean, like and then who can rotate in at there, and then you got Zinchenko might be able to slide up to Xhaka's role quite a bit. So I think we're looking good. I'm feeling positive about it. Like I told you offline. I started watching the All or Nothing yesterday when it dropped, and I'm sure that they're showing us the best parts of it, of course, because they're not going to want you to see things. But just having watched it, like I do like Arteta more. I've had a feeling that was going to be the case, but I think he does have some. Like he looks like they believe in him. Like you can tell that they believe in him. They are on board. So maybe it looked a lot different last year for us, like watching it back in real time than it is like in real life. So, I think I could see us like progressing each year. They need to have the right team in place. I think they have some. And yeah, I mean, I'm excited for the season. I think it's going to be an interesting one.
Do you have confidence in Arteta to be able to pick the right lineup? Because sometimes I felt like last year we were in the same spot. We were like excited, even 2 years ago, like again, excited with the possibilities of a starting 11. And then we start the game. Like, are we going to see Cedric start tomorrow and Xhaka? You know what I mean?
I hope.
Like,
I think Xhaka is going to play still this season. I think
that's too much to
what
ask.
I know. I think it's too much. I think, but you know what? He has played well in the last couple of games, which
that's true.
like.
I mean, he played a through ball, but behind the line.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was like, yeah, that's the first time I've seen you do that ever.
I know.
Like, you do that, I'm not going to complain. I don't care about him personally. I just had never seen him do that before. But if he wants to start doing that, please go ahead. I'll be cool with it.
I don't still rate him. Like I think this might be his last year at Arsenal. Like as like they're transitioning. Like, he is still one of the older leaders, so he probably doesn't want to get rid of all of them. I also think Rob Holding is going to stay at Arsenal this year. And that's one, I think he's just a personality in the back room that he's been at Arsenal like 8 years. And I think that they just, like El Neni too, like I see these, like, I still am in the same boat. Like I think we got to get rid of these players. but I
Well,
think that there's some holdover as like mentoring wise that they're doing, that they want some instilledness into the new guys from some old guys about just a club. Watching that yesterday, it's like, all right, like I do think he has an idea how to play smarter than a lot of teams. And I think that the days that we get it wrong, I think it's really wrong. Like, but the days that it's right, it works really well. The
yeah,
system is intricate, like Guardiola's system, and there's a lot of moving pieces to how the flow works, I think, and what he's trying to do. So if one person kind of breaks that, it looks a mess.
yeah.
Like,
And I feel
so
and certain instinctive players like Pepe, Alba, Laka, like they can't be micromanaged like that. You know what I mean? Aubameyang is like, give me a
no, yeah,
ball and I'll do something with it. But it's like, oh, you
totally.
gotta be here,
He's
and then you go here, and then you go here, and it's like he's probably like, nah, Doc, I'm not gonna do that. I don't care. You know?
Yeah, and I just don't think he fit into the system that they wanted to play. And I think, that's why he was out. And then he was like not turning up to training and stuff. They haven't gotten to that in the All or Nothing yet in the first 3 episodes.
Yeah.
That's in the next group next week. And
How many episodes will there be total? Do you know?
8. So it's all coming out like this month. This week there's 3. Next week there's 3, and then there's 2 the week after. And so, I mean, it was really good. The cinematography has gotten even better than like the first 2, and they've just learned how to film it really well. So it's like, it's entertaining to watch, but it was also insightful. You'll start to like appreciate them a little bit more. Like, I just think that they have bigger ideas than we imagined, and they are trying.
Like
Maybe
too much too quickly, and it came off as being like you don't know what you're
yeah,
doing. Type of thing.
totally. And even Josh Kroenke, like, I don't know if he's trying to like prove his dad wrong, but he actually like seemed well interested and well like involved. Like
That's
not faking it either. Like, he looks like a weird devilish dude. Like, he looks sinister.
like Edward Longshanks.
But I mean, he said, I don't know, he like seems to care. They seem to be backing Arteta. I mean, I guess we just got to see and go off this year. I think this year is going to be really important. If they don't get top 4, they've already said that he is going to get sacked.
Really?
Yes, they've said that's fair.
It's totally fair. You get 3.5 full seasons to kind of do whatever you want to do. And I was just thinking about like I like what they're doing, because I thought, at the end of last season, Arteta was saying like we don't have unlimited resources, and I was like, dude, is this going to be another window where we don't buy anyone? You know what I mean? Like they're just going to be like, yeah, we're fine, we're good. And luckily, that didn't turn out to be the case. But also, it just makes me think like, okay, past 2 years we spent a lot of money, got a lot of players. Where was that for the past? Like what changed?
Yeah,
What
I
like
think. Yeah, I think it's just I think they realized they were like losing support. I think there's a number of things that happened. They did take full control in like 2018. Now I'm still Kroenke out in general. Like, I want them to sell at some point. I think we'd be better off. But if they're going to do what they need to do right now to try to compete, then at least they're in influx. I think that they were not investing in the team, started to lose the fan support, and we're realizing like, oh, we need to contain this, or we're gonna like not have a business here.
So
like
their philosophy is like, oh, we don't need to spend money because everyone loves Arsene Wenger no matter what.
yeah,
And he
yeah, I think
Champions League, and like he's doing fine. Yeah, we're not winning, but we'll win the odd FA Cup or Community Shield, and it's enough to keep people going. And why would we spend more money to do that? Not realizing that like the modern game is if you don't spend to keep up, you'll fall behind so fast. And then
we were not doing that at all. We were just like, the business was terrible.
And even with Unai Emery, I mean, his first season, they gave him Socrates, who was already past his prime, and Lichtsteiner, who was like 36 and like could barely move. And like that was our window.
What a difference to those like center backs that we had at the team at one point, like to what we have right now. I'm in.
Yeah. And
I mean, we
finally,
got 3 really quality center backs that are.
Liba is just
He's a
solid.
beast. He's good
But
on the ball as well. Like he played well in all the preseason games. Like
he has a Virgil van Dijk kind of presence about him.
definitely, dude. And people, I love that the fans are like cheering his name and stuff. He probably feels like way better now about like the whole situation.
Weird. It's just it's hard to. I want to be excited. I want to take all these wins that are there, and I don't want to be like upset that we're doing well. Because some people have gone so negative that they're like reluctant to accept when a good thing happens at Arsenal, which I
Totally. I mean,
understand because you can't really trust what's happening. But at the same time, I'm like, okay, William Saliba is coming in. He looks like Virgil van Dijk. He's already our best center back. Why didn't he come last year? Because we ended the season with freaking Holding, who ruined the game against Tottenham to lose the top 4. Like, there's like these decisions that are like, yeah, we knew he was good. He was as good last year. He didn't suddenly find his form, all of a sudden this year. He was good. He got player of the season. He got like defender of the season last year in Liga. Like,
totally.
we could have used that when we had Rob Holding fouling Son because he was basically like, I can't mark this dude. I need to get out of this game. And like what you said, like Holding, like some of the old people, like when we played against Miami FC or Orlando,
Orlando.
like I thought that game, I was like, man, we looked terrible. And Holding looked, he was shocking. Dude.
Well, they started like not a great team in that game.
Like, are we gonna do that type of shit where we always like?
I think preseason's always different though. They're like ironing out. I think they always give some guys like an opportunity to like, hey, get them seen.
Arteta will do that though. Like there'll be players who are on the fringe, who you want to be good, like Lokonga, and he'll be like, okay, here's your chance, but I'm going to give you Cedric and Holding behind you, and it's like, yeah, of course the whole team is going to suck, and then Lokonga's going to suck, and then you're going to be like, see, Lokonga's not really that good. We should get rid of him. It's like, no, man, like.
For sure.
Put him in there and see how he does. And then if he's bad, then you're like, all right, you got your chance.
I think our starting lineup will be pretty strong tomorrow. It's got to be. And everybody's fit. Like they'll probably start Martinelli, Jesus, Saka up top, Xhaka, Odegaard, and Partey in the middle. And then the back 4 that I said with Ramsdale. I'm pretty sure that's going to be the starting 11.
4-3-3?
Yeah. But I think there's like a different type of rotation in there now. Like I think that they're trying to do some different things. I think they're trying to be a lot more dynamic about how that's why they want some players like Zinchenko, that players that can move around the field differently.
Like that's the Pep style of like hybrid midfielder forwards and defenders that are more like midfielders and center forwards that are like holding midfielders and like these kind of like hybrid positions.
Yeah, and I think he takes some from Pep, obviously, because you were there. Like, but I think he's also had his own spin on it. I don't know, just the way people talk about him. People think he's going to be like, even right from the get go, people were saying that they thought he was going to be a great manager based on his ideas and stuff. So I think that there's probably some contractual stuff there still. I don't think that's changed, the Xhaka stuff. And I don't like Granit Xhaka, but if he can not mess up and he can kind of get phased out over the next year, and we can kind of start to replace him, I think that that's a good place to be in. We have a lot of different options in the midfield. If they get Tielemans, which it looks like they're still trying to go for him, I think that's the other one.
Tielemans, it's like, how do we fit everyone in now? And like,
no, because you got Vieira, you got Odegaard, Rowe.
Yeah, I mean Smith Rowe hasn't really even played preseason, and
he's been hurt.
He might be our, at his best, he might be the best player on the team.
You know what I mean? Totally. He's the best control for sure. So like they're in the all or nothing yesterday. They were saying that he certainly has the best close ball control out of anyone at the team. Like he's
And
I
that's
mean,
with
he's just,
you
he,
know,
which he is amazing too. I'm happy that he's the captain now. Hopefully the curse doesn't come onto him at all. I don't think that really is like a thing. I think we just had a weird run of it. But like
what
he
happened
seems like a quality
to
leader.
captain? I mean,
Yeah, I mean it is like weird.
you don't have to put the best player as captain, and Aubameyang was never they had to give it to him because he was the only player who was good at the time,
Totally.
but you just don't
But you
give it.
wouldn't look at Aubameyang for most things. Like I just my general take on it, and like I like Aubameyang a lot as a player, and I think he's like solid. But I wouldn't look at him normally as like the captain per se. Like the captain is like the leader that like is serious, is kind of like
Yeah. Yeah. Like
there no
solid.
matter what, like early, late. Aubameyang's not that guy.
Yeah. And that's just, he's a flash striker,
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
we just kept playing to players' weaknesses, like their arch weakness instead of their strength. And
yeah.
hopefully that is done with, hopefully Arteta's like, because Arteta seemed to come in and be like, I have this plan. You guys all adapt to this plan. And that's a really hard thing for any coach to do. I mean, Pep has had a lot of problems doing it himself, like Yaya Toure and Zlatan are pretty much some of the best. They're some of the best players of the century. And he was like, I can't work with you guys. You like,
yeah,
like
but
you're
Fergie did the same.
Yeah.
I think big personalities sometimes, like those guys like Mourinho, they all have rifts with the big egos, like because they're a big ego. They don't want that to get in the way of like the project. I don't know. I think that there's like what I would have loved to see the Aubameyang thing turn around, and if we could still have him at the club, that would be amazing because seems like he's not going to stay at Barca. He's probably going to go to Chelsea. It looks like.
Which
just
is
based on but I also am not super worried about that he's going to Chelsea. It's Chelsea. Like he could flourish or not there.
Is it possible that Chelsea seems even more fake now than they did before? Like,
totally. I think
about him, and like Tuchel, like looks like he has no joy for the game whatsoever. He's like, I told you to do this. Why didn't you do this? I don't even care about. He's the type of dude who's like, you can walk up to him and be like, hey, coach, I have a question about something in training. He'd be like, send me an email, and just put it like, like, I'm not listening to you right now,
They seem worse off, actually. I mean, we smashed them. They started a strong team that day, as well as us, and we fucking smashed them. I know it's just a friendly, but there is no way that both teams
they were a little
friendly. No, they were.
You don't want to lose 4-0 in preseason to anybody, no matter what. You know what I mean?
Especially one of your main rivals in the same city that you play in the same league with. You're not going to like.
I mean, if you lose 4-3, if you lose 5-3 or, something like that, and you could be like, well, we were trying some stuff. We definitely hit them. They hit us a little bit more, whatever. We'll get them next time. But like 4-0, like they were like, oh,
you got smashed.
Yeah, we weren't expecting that. And that being
all of our goals were kind of clinical. Like adding Jesus to the mix is devastating, I think.
Like Pep, when he came to Man City, I was like, dude, this dude is a fantasy, like he's fantasy gold because he scores. Yeah. And then Pep was kind of like, oh no, he scores too much. No. I like this. So he really slammed the brakes on
he Jesus did, yeah.
And now Jesus is getting to be like a little bit like, do your thing.
Yeah.
The dude is scary, dude. He gets the ball and he scores. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter where he gets the ball from. He gets the ball and he scores. You know what I mean?
He's the number one player picked in all of fantasy across the board right now.
Is he
80? Of course. Is he on yours?
Yeah. I had
the stat is crazy. 85% of all the people that are playing fantasy on the Premier League's website picked him.
He has what, like 8 or 9 goals in preseason
already? It's stupid.
Can you hold on? My worry though is if he gets
Yeah,
injured, then all of a sudden we revert to plan B and like start playing our crap team. Like I want to
I
see,
know.
I want to see Arteta have a legitimate plan B this season. So like if
Totally.
because remember the first when he first came in, like his first game was against Man City, and we were like, okay, this is gonna be tough. And then like in the first 10 minutes, Pablo Mari just like blew out his calf. And
Oh yeah.
then David Luiz got a red card and a PK. And it was like, okay, the you took the playbook that we all had planned for and you just fucking threw it out, you know? But like
Totally.
that will happen. So
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can't
What?
revert
Who's he
to
gonna?
like,
I
oh
mean,
shit, put in Cedric. You know, I've been waiting to put in Cedric. Just throw him in there, you know?
I think he's moved down the pecking order for sure because he's behind. He's behind White, Tomiyasu, and that's where he stands. Like you know, there's some depth there. If he's starting White and right back as opposed to Cedric,
Yeah.
because I think it gives more options. I mean, Ben White's a really good soccer player in general. Like he's good on the ball. He's a
Yeah.
good defender. It's just that he's now going to have to compete with Saliba, and they're both very good. Like,
Well, and the thing
and I
too,
think I think White will play over him sometimes for experience from last year and the year before, like from his like Brighton days. So it's just we'll see. I think we're going to sure it up a little bit.
and I think like we'll do things like we'll start with like maybe a 4-2-3-1, but it'll end up being like White will start on the right, but he'll end up coming back to play with like three center backs, and
Yeah,
then whoever's on the
the wing
left will
backs coming
go and
forward.
will be yeah. Like I don't know if we'll necessarily have like a right wing
The
back or
right
something,
one.
but like whoever's on the left, Tierney or Zinchenko will end up being like more like go forward and get crosses in and stuff like that. So
It was interesting last night. They were changing something that was like, so they're not going to show you all the details because they don't want you to know like their tactics and everything. Of course, like they're like just like the way Man City didn't show you like the breakdown of everything on what they're doing, but they did show. They did this exercise with all of them like in a classroom, and they had two whiteboards, and the one whiteboard on the left had the setup how they normally play with all the numbers on there, like the little dots, like as they normally play. And they were like, I want you to memorize that one real quick. And then I want you to memorize the one on the right. And all the numbers were in different spots on the field. And they were trying to reiterate to them that one on the no one could remember the one on the right because they were like, we're just not used to it. They all remember the one on the left because that's what they know. And he was like, the point of the exercise is that when the time comes, you don't have time to make a decision. You only have time to do what's natural in the flow. So we need you to memorize the system. And I just don't think any of them had it memorized for long. Remember last year when we were like, I don't think they understand what they're doing.
no,
They didn't understand what they were doing. That's the thing. Is there are days and there are games that they've gone through that they did not understand how this works. And I will say, I play with Arsenal a lot on FIFA, a lot. Like online. It's taken me a while to be able to beat all the better teams with the team because I've had to get better. But I will say, like, I can understand where he sees the system set up the way that he sees it. Because in the game, if it pans out the way that it works, it's like walking the ball into the goal. It's they have so much movement throughout the team that eventually everybody's just confused on the other side about where it's going to happen. You just open them up. So like I think that's the general idea. Of course, like how the game's played, like Barca's played, how Man City plays. But I just think it's like a little bit different than what they've done based on how we're implementing it. So like I it'll be interesting to see how this group of players develops this year, I think. Because I think we actually have a set of quality players finally. Like we have a good team.
that's true. I mean, we have a lot of good players. You know, you see like Saka has the you can see it. He has the Saka has the confidence to be like a top player. It's not even like, oh, you're a young kid up and comer. Like for me, like last season, he fully stepped up to being like, no, I'm on the stage now. I'm a good
Yeah.
player. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna get stats. I'm gonna score. I'm not
Yep.
scared anymore. I want the ball. I want those opportunities, and it'll be
Totally.
interesting to see too, like who ends up leaving because we still have players like Reese Nelson, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's the deal with Pepe, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and like
Yeah.
honestly, as much as it's been like disappointing with them, every year you're kind of like you see glimpses of like, dude, if we can get you firing,
You
we'll
good?
be
Yeah.
sick. We have like a full third string almost now with players that could
Totally.
potentially be another Saka and ESR because that's where they came from.
Totally. And I think he sent the right players out on loan so far. Like Balogun's gone on loan to Stade Reims for this season.
Yeah.
Tavares went to Marseille. That seemed to be a good move for Saliba. I don't think Tavares is bad. I just think he needs to get like refined. He's making a lot of categorical mistakes that like you cannot keep making. That he just like he cost us a few games last year. Like single-handedly, he probably lost us like 3 games.
Well, like when he came on, he scored that goal. Like he's too dynamic for a system that he doesn't understand quite yet. You know what I mean? He needs to find his slot and then exploit what he can do within that system, which is hard.
Watching the all or nothing, like he
didn't,
and he didn't settle really at first. Like he was Tavares like in the thing is like shy, not really like doing well mentally at the club at first because he's away from his family. Seems to be like a real thing for a lot of the players. Like
I mean, could you imagine? Like imagine
you're like 20 and you.
Yeah, even if we went to England where we speak the language, like you just get dropped somewhere and all of a sudden you're like the eyes of the world are on you and you have to be perfect and you're like, dude, I don't even know where I'm sleeping tonight. You know what I mean? Like
no,
different.
For sure. I'm sure it's
like,
tough.
Like you got to hit the ground running, or it could be, it could be insane. That's a lot to put on somebody.
Yeah, I think it's probably challenging at first. Like, yeah, even Sokka was saying like he's like in the thing is like I can't even go to like I had my hood up, I had a mask on. It's like I can't even go to the grocery store. Like now, like without people like coming up to you.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a whole lifestyle adjustment, I'm sure. But I'm sure they wouldn't change it for how it is for them. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think I'm looking forward to our chances. I don't think anyone's can. I think this is interesting. Now, I don't want to. We always get ahead of it. We always think we're going to do better. I think that we could finish top 4. I think that we could maybe even challenge a little bit if they get some things right throughout the season. I think it's interesting that Man City sold us Zinchenko and Jesus, thinking that we are not a competitor, but we are definitely competitors. We competed with them in both games last year. Even in the one we lost 3-0, wasn't that bad. We lost or 5-0 or whatever with the third game. There were parts of that game that weren't bad. On New Year's Day, we should have won that game against them.
Yeah. If Xhaka doesn't
get red carded,
foul.
Yep.
Well, and then he got a red card in the first game, and then he
first one, yeah.
Bernardo at the
that's right.
minute by pulling his jersey in the box. Like we honestly, if Nuno is getting the flack that he's gotten, for making mistakes, then there's no possible way that Xhaka can get stupid red cards and give up penalties. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I think that they're definitely on it. I think that they're definitely on it. I think that they just I think the way that it's interesting to watch the player dynamic about it. Like I was really interested to see how Arteta interacted with the players, and having watched that, I feel better about him being in charge. Actually, you can tell that they like him. You can tell that they respect him and believe in him, which I didn't always get the feeling that they did. Like,
yeah, it was really hard to tell from the outside sometimes,
Totally. And you only get to watch like how they interact on the touch line, and you're like trying to pick up on like how they exited the field. Did they shake hands? Is there a problem? Like, I don't know. It's I just find it fascinating. Like, so I'm excited. I think that we're a dark horse a little bit in that contention area. I think that people are going to underestimate Arsenal and still think that we're kind of similar to last year with some improvement. Like, I don't think that people are going to go into thinking like, oh, I'm afraid of Arsenal, like right off the bat.
They're,
Like, I don't think Palace will be super scared tomorrow, but they should be.
apparently their fans are like, we're gonna win. And this is it's a good game. It's a hard first match, but
But it's a good one if you win.
this is gonna be like, all right, are we legit or not? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because the season starts as put up or shut up, and late and like traditionally we're like, well, let's wait 5 or 6 games before we kind of catch our flow and get going and blah. And you're like, if things have changed, then there's one way to prove it, and it's by beating Crystal Palace, because they're going to be tough, and they absolutely kicked our ass last time.
Dude, and we didn't even score a goal until game 4 last year against Norwich. So like, we need to get off the mark like early this year. We cannot have that kind of start that we had last year at all. That's just, I mean, years ago, you wouldn't even be able to win the league without losing 4 games. And we lost the first 3. So like, you just can't start that way. It's not possible.
Like, we didn't think we were going to win the league last year, but when you throw it out after the first 3 games, it's like, well,
yeah.
Like,
yeah, I didn't think we were gonna win the league either. But you don't even want to be in top 4. You can't.
Yeah, like,
right. The fact that we still got Europa League is kind of astounding with 14 losses.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems that are kind of getting swept under the rug a little bit. If it works in sports, if you win the game, then everything you did worked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you lose, then it's like, now you can pick a million things of why they should have done and what they shouldn't have done.
Well, totally. I don't think we can. I just don't think we can hang on the failures. I mean, I think it's all like a stepping stone into like what they're trying to do. As long as they keep making progress, like I guess we should be happy. We're in an exciting time. I was talking to Rachel about this yesterday. All the other all or nothings that have come out, like the Man City one came out like kind of a while. They didn't run it like with the season. It would kind of just like dropped, and it was just a program. They're being really strategic about this one. I find it really interesting, like how it could affect Arsenal like this year. It technically drops today, the day before the season starts. It could give them a major boost in like support.
There's some buzz growing around Arsenal, and
certainly,
buzz can translate to performance on the pitch. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like,
for sure,
being cool, being popular, being, like that translates into you just do the right thing on the pitch. You know what I mean? So they get that opportunity, but they're certainly generating a lot of buzz around them. Like, I heard that the black Arsenal kit was like the most highly sold kit of any team.
Yeah.
So
I got the shorts. They're sick.
Yeah.
I need the socks. Yeah, the black shorts are dope. The gold cannon on them, like gold Arsenal sign. They're cool. They're like really nice.
Yeah, I mean,
the buzz is good. You're right. I mean, they've generated this whole feeling. I mean, look, we've been down and out as Arsenal fans for how long? Like, constantly, like since. I mean, we haven't done anything really. Like, we've won a few FA Cups since like 2010. And we've just not been good for a long time.
There are so many years where it was like we weren't even trying. I mean, it seemed like we were doing whatever. Like, no, we don't want the buzz. Go away, buzz. Where it's like every team that's good and wins has the buzz. You never in
totally
Leicester, kind of. That's a different story. But if you're a top team and you win, you have the buzz going with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have everyone. How many profiles on Pep? How many interviews does that guy do a day? Because people are like, you're the coolest right now. I just want to talk to you,
Yep.
And for a while, it just seemed like we were doing like, no, we're not going to have a cool jersey. We're going to have like the worst Puma jersey ever made, And then you just see people be like, oh, okay. Like, the cameras are like, never mind. I guess we'll go over here. Chelsea, will you do it? And they're like, yeah, we'll do it. Like, okay.
Yeah, and then they have like press and stuff from things. Like, you know, we have like cool uniforms. I like actually all of our kids. I think even the pink one is pretty cool. Like it
Yeah.
looks a lot cleaner than I thought it was gonna look. And
I
the
mean, it's
socks and
bold.
shorts are dope.
It's bold.
It's bold. Yeah.
I want to see it
I
in real
mean,
life. I want to see the authentics in real life too, because sometimes I'll catch like a replica at like the Adidas store or something. I'm like, I would not pay $50 for it because it's like, and I feel like it's like not every replica is the same. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
sometimes
yeah.
like the stripes feel like you could just peel them off. You know, you're like, what the fuck?
So I have the yellow authentic from last year, and it's nice. It's like a really nice jersey. You can tell that they like on the collar and stuff. Like it's just they used even better like elastic and like it's cut differently. Has like different front and to the back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna probably buy one at the store there this year. So when we go, I just want to see which one I like in person. I
Yeah.
do like the red one. It's kind of grown on me. I haven't bought a red one in a really long time. Like last year's was cool and I didn't buy it. So no, I think we're all good for the future right now. Like I think we have a team. They're they're the youngest team in the Premier League. Like we don't have many players over 25. So like
Think about it.
if we
Jason's
can keep this
only
together for 5
25,
years,
right?
yeah,
Jason's only 25.
yeah.
I mean, Saka.
Odegaard's 22.
I mean,
Martinelli's
crazy
22.
to think that like Odegaard is the same age as Saka. You know, he seems older. You know,
I know.
because he's been
And
went through
just getting
all
going.
15.
And he's like, I feel like he is like relishing in this moment. He didn't get an opportunity at Real. He's like the main guy kind of at Arsenal right now, midfield wise, like captain. Dude, he's probably he was posting photos and videos of him training this summer. He's just gotten like bigger. All those guys like bulked up a little bit.
Deadlifting, like
Finally,
he just.
maybe
I
they
know,
watched our podcast and listened to that. They need to get stronger.
dude. I mean,
Hit the fucking gym.
you look at City, and every one of those dudes is jacked, and it makes a difference. Like physicality
Totally.
is first, especially in the Premier League.
Thank God we don't have to play them for a little bit too. I feel like we could be in good standing here with not having to play some of the big guys first. Like what's the first one? I'm just looking. We played Palace, Leicester, Bournemouth, Fulham, Villa. Those are the first five.
You need to
And then
those five.
dude, those are all winnable games right there. Those are especially Leicester's losing people left and right now.
Leicester's crumbling. I don't know.
They're gonna get I don't know what's going on there. That's really weird. Schmeichel was for £1 million. I was like, what? Went to Nice.
Something's weird.
Madison's going to Newcastle, which you knew they were going to try to buy some people, but James Madison's like really good. Like, why would you?
And if they loot, like, I didn't hear them getting anybody. You know?
And I mean, all those games right there are winnable. And then we play United on September 4th, and that's also currently very fucking winnable. We should smash them.
Dude, with all the craziness, I still would
Ronaldo
be Arsenal than Man U.
Oh yeah.
When they do a rebuild, they know how to fuck up a rebuild like no one else.
They've rebuilt twice since we haven't. Like we're just now rebuilding. If you really look at what we did last year to this year, we have a whole new team finally. Finally, we got rid of most of the guys. You know, Bellerin's probably on his way out finally. And like that one's Bird Leno even leaving yesterday was like, you know, like trimming some of it. Like I think Leno is good, but he wants to play first team all the time.
Yeah.
And Ramsdale, having watched Ramsdale in this thing just a little bit, dude, he's a beast. That dude's a monster. That dude is like gonna get even better. He was mad we got scored on in one of the games at 3-1. He was like very upset that he didn't keep a clean sheet. It was like that's the kind of stuff you want in a goalkeeper. Like
it's true.
So United, I would not want to be in United's position right now.
Christian Eriksen, it's like I don't know, dude. The dude is 30 something. He can like he doesn't really lose the ball, but like maybe hits
He
the odd
doesn't. Yeah.
kick or something. But it's like, that's your answer, you know?
He's not going to change the games for them. That's the thing. Like, they're and what you have even like Ronaldo doesn't even want to stay there now. Like you have Ronaldo forcing to move out of the club at the moment.
Yeah.
I get it. He has 1 year left on his deal. He's not going to try to like stay there under a rebuild program. But like I also don't think that Ten Hag is just going to get them out of the gate and firing right off the bat and change that whole group of players. They haven't added enough to it at all.
It's true. Yeah.
So
Much rather be in Arsenal's shoes at the moment. And
we don't play City until October. So
that's good.
And Liverpool.
That's it.
Tottenham. We have a rough run of games, and when I'm in England, actually, we play Spurs, Liverpool, Leeds, City, Southampton.
October. And that's right before World Cup, pretty much, huh? There's like 2 games in November and then the World Cup, something like that.
Yep. Yeah, it stops like November 12th, 13th, it looks like, and then everybody goes on break and then it comes back Boxing Day. That's also going to be interesting, the break. But I mean, we have a number of people that are going to play internationals. So there's going to be a lot of people that are at the World Cup. So hopefully we can stay fit and hopefully they just get some points each time when they need it. So, I mean,
it's going to be a weird year, and hopefully it doesn't impact it too much, because when you think about like Arteta's first year was
COVID.
COVID. And then 21 was like still COVID, but pretty much like still have people testing positive like all the time. The run of games where they just changed and postponed and rescheduled like every single game, and like,
I mean, for the first 3 games last year that we were talking about, Aubameyang and Laka both had COVID. Then Ben White had COVID. So, I mean, like, we were, like, dropping people. Like, we didn't have Ben White for Man City that day, which I don't know. Given what we had last year at the time, like, we could not have Ben White play against them. Like, we had Rob Holding.
Kolasinac and Rob Holding started against City last time. Like, that was never going to end well.
No, we were always going to lose that game.
But like, we need to be, and what I'm hoping for this year is like, yeah, we had a lot of situations where it's like, man, we have all of our players are out. We have to start this team that we obviously don't want to play. But we got to know that now that can happen and not have that happen to us. You know what I mean? Like, 3 of our best players get sick. We need to field a team that's just as good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
If Saka is sick, then ESR needs to be able to be there and be good, or like Tomiyasu gets. We can't just default to El Neni and Holding and Cedric with Jakob in there, and all of a sudden you have 4 players that should have been gone years ago who are starting against big teams when it matters. Like, we have to manage that differently so that doesn't happen.
Yeah. I think we've added depth finally. We didn't have, so hopefully they add a couple more players. They said that they're not done in the window. I think that they mean business finally, for real. Like, we've been the team that has always been like talking about buying people, and then we never buy people.
I know we'll have like one player that we talk about buying, and then we don't buy them, and it's like, well, that was the window,
Yeah. At least we started early this year and got some quality business done before preseason. I mean, the Zinchenko one kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And it was done immediately when they were like, yep, that's done. He left Houston. He's in Florida now. He's now with the team. He started against Chelsea. They threw him straight into the team.
Well, that's another thing too.
I've never seen that for us.
Like, remember Wenger like signing Lacazette and then not starting him for like
10 games or some shit?
Like, just didn't play him, and it was like, then he'd come on and score, and then he wouldn't start the next game. It's like, I cannot handle another year of like we have all these good players, but let's start slow and work them in. It's like we need to hit the ground running with a 11 that strikes fear into Crystal Palace, you know? And we should do that.
Certainly.
Right now it's like who would you want to start that can't for some reason? ESR.
Tomiyasu, maybe?
Yeah,
ESR?
but we at least we have cover for them, like legitimate
Yeah.
cover. You know, like if Ben
I
White's
feel
starting
fine.
at right back, that's
Yeah.
I can handle that.
Yeah. Besides Xhaka, which I would love to just see someone else in that role. I'm just tired of seeing his name, to be honest. Like, I just don't.
Hopefully, it illuminates something about what his draw is to them. You know, in the all or nothing, like because it's just like I don't want to keep harping on the man as a person, but it's like you keep messing up. Like you're a mainstay in a team that keeps failing. So like, and your person, it's not like Aubameyang sometimes was scoring, and we were not doing well, but he was doing well, you know. And then eventually he didn't do well, but like there was a time when he was doing really well. Alexis Sanchez was like, I'm playing well. I scored against Bayern Munich, but you guys got scored on 5 times against Bayern Munich. But I did something, you know? Like Xhaka is like, what did you do? Oh, I got a red card. Oh, I didn't do anything. I didn't get a pass. I didn't get an assist. I didn't.
Maybe this is going to weed itself out though, too, because I think when you start adding the type of quality we're adding to the team, like we're getting better player wise, no matter how you look at it. Like we've added
sheer number of good players.
Yeah. At some point, he's going to stand out even worse than he already does. And it's going to be like, we no longer can allow you to be on the field with this group of players.
Yeah.
And he even in the all or nothingness, I think it's in episode 2, Odegaard, it's like he just comes back he went back to Real, then comes back, and it's like it's done. And people are all like congratulating him, and he like went into the locker room, and Jack is like, "You're the future, bro. Like you're the future here." And it's like I think he is well aware that he's like his tenureship is like coming to an end. Even last year,
he was ready to go.
Just like
he's been ready to go multiple times himself.
I know. I just think that they should have let him go. I don't know. I think Arteta likes him from their playing days together. I think that there's some overlap there.
And I think he wants him to symbolize like if you have belief, you know, then you can do it. It's like
passion.
It's risky, you know. It's
the passion.
Yeah, you must have passion.
Commitments.
All I know is passion.
Have you watched all the trailers for it? Like there's been a few trailers out for it. There's one came out 2 days ago, and it's I followed him years ago on Instagram. It's the Arsenal photographer, Stuart McFarlane, because he's just always taking cool images of the players. Yeah. But the team talk before the Norwich game, he let Stuart McFarlane give the team talk in the dressing room. And he's like been a lifelong fan, and he's the photographer. It was interesting. I don't know. I think that their tactics that they're trying are like it worked. They won. They whatever's got to get these guys like believing. No, he did it before Tottenham, the Tottenham derby, because they really on episode 3 they really go into the Tottenham derby one. Like they're like we also smashed them. So
yeah. And Aubameyang did the Henri knee slide. It's just like I'm still gonna be a little sad about how that all worked out. But if we move forward with quality and it does work, then it's like okay. But again, he has to prove it.
Yeah.
Like he's still in arrears in my book, because the last 2 seasons have been dreadful to watch. Objectively dreadful. 14 losses per season. That's not a good season no matter what. 14 losses in the league, you know?
Totally. No, like, and I agree. Last year was like up and down. There were like moments that were amazing and moments that were horrendous as like a fan.
Like
And
like you said, like when we get it wrong and like they have no idea what's going on. Like we can't
Mhm.
do that either because there's always been two teams with Arteta. There's a team where we're like, holy crap, this team could be awesome. And then there's the
Yeah,
team like, dude, we would lose against Ipswich right now. We would lose to them. Like put us against the
Scott
third division team,
Scunthorpe United.
Thorpe, Oldham United, like because we'll play
Yep.
against those teams. Like when we played Nottingham Forest, it was like, dude, we don't have it. It's like when you're boxing and you like punch the dude in the face and he's like,
Yeah.
dude, like you can't you can't hurt me. So I'm just gonna chill.
No, super valid. I mean, I agree with that completely. And having watched it back a little bit yesterday, like they were confused. I don't think that they understood the system at all. I think that they understand it now. Like what I think that they know how they're meant to be playing. If you watch the Chelsea game, like I'd say most of those dude, not just Chelsea, Sevilla. Now,
Dude,
dude, we fucking smashed Sevilla.
I mean, nobody
They're
wants
good,
to
and they're good.
yeah, nobody wants to lose 6-0 in a training match. And Sevilla they were third place last season, and they're always a team that like is really tough to play. Barcelona and Real Madrid struggle to beat them every game. They're a good side. They have a renowned coach. And I mean 6-0, and it was like 4-0 in like 20 minutes. Like again, the blitzkrieg, like
I know they were on it, dude. It's just and Jesus, dude, is just if they can keep him fit and after it, I think he is also super pumped. I think he really likes Arteta from what I've seen. I think he really is relishing the fact that he gets to be like the main dude. At City, he was just another person there.
like
At
more
Arsenal,
pushed to the side of like,
yeah,
yeah.
and he didn't start all the time there. So you were playing
I feel like he started
ever.
playing again at the end of last season and he scored like 8 goals in the last 3 games. And it
He's
was
kind
like,
of been he kind of got forgotten there, like a little bit. You're like, dude, what are you doing with this like young
he's
Brazil?
he's a number 9 through and through. And Pep was like, nah, I don't play with a
I'm
number.
gonna play him on the right. I'm gonna play him on the right.
Which
He would play him on the right all the time.
I don't know what that trend in soccer is. And I thought like Arteta was kind of doing it last season with like putting Aubameyang out on the left always, and like not whoever he put in the middle was almost like a throwaway position,
Yeah,
because they never got the ball. They were never playing high. They were playing like a deep number 9. But when you have Odegaard, it's like, well, what do Odegaard just took that position over. So you're basically playing with 10 men. Like, hopefully Jesus is like, you are the striker. You're the number 9. Score goals.
but and him and Eddie and Kedia said that they like playing together. So I think they played a 4-4-2 one day.
I love the 4-4-2, man.
I think with all these players that we're getting, we have 5 substitutes allowed now each game. They changed the rule.
Yeah.
That's going to give a lot of options too now. Now you're not just limited to 3. You get 2 extra players that can come in and influence the game. If you have a way like with Zinchenko, say Zinchenko doesn't start, but you wanted a little more dynamic on the field, you could throw him into the midfield and have him push forward. And we just have different options now that are helpful. So I think that we're in a good position going into this season, more so than I've felt in the last 10 years.
I don't know. I don't think anyone in any league had a better preseason than Arsenal. And I hope
we won every one of our games. We won every one of our games and got almost all the business done that we wanted to early so far.
Yeah. Like hopefully we didn't blow our wad before the season started, but like, we're looking good. We're looking better.
I think they're good. They're going to be buzzing, man. I think the buzz that they're getting from the All or Nothing, I know it's just a show, but that's the kind of stuff that's like they're going to get like a boost. They're going to be like even more famous than they are right now. People are going to be rooting for them.
Yeah, and it'll affect the way other teams play. That was another thing too. It's like we kept giving confidence to these lower teams, and they're like, okay, like now's our time to beat a big team. Like
Yeah.
people were to Arsenal for a while, and they're like, this is the time where we play in a huge stadium and win.
Yeah.
Instead of
Yeah.
coming like with Henri and them, they'd come to Highbury and be like, it's time to take your ass kicking. Like they were beaten in the tunnel. And lately they've been thinking like, no, we're in this. We can beat Arsenal. And if that starts to change, that's huge as well. The psychological factor in other teams, because that gives you a little bit more space, and then you can start expressing yourself a little bit more.
If we can scout Palace tomorrow and start that way, like we're going to be in a really good position, because they need to get a big win against that team. We lost them twice last year.
Yeah, and like soundly. It wasn't like, oh, we like they beat us. They were the better team.
Yeah.
What time's the game?
Noon our time. Friday night football.
They'll be wearing the pinks, I hear.
Is that? Yeah. I think that makes sense there.
Yeah. They're also like the way
they
do get launches and stuff. Like,
yeah, they're doing it better than they've done it before. They've learned a lot.
It's like, yeah, momentum, psychological factors, like they make a difference when you're a professional sports team. You don't just let those opportunities kind of go away, or worse, like become negative influences on you.
There's a good personality at the club that I didn't really know who he was yesterday until like we watched it. And it was Carlos Cuesta. He's at Arsenal. He's the guy who's individual development coach. He's like a mental man manager. Like he's there to help them like mentally. Like, because all of them were going through like Saka, like it starts off yesterday, like the last season, Saka missed the penalty in the Euros and got like all kinds of abuse. He was kind of like in a little bit of a goal drought at the beginning of last season and was like not in form. And so like it's just interesting to watch that they had like a player development coach that's like there for just the mental capacity, which I'm sure all of them do. Like I, of course, like they need to talk to somebody, and but he was cool. Like, so it seems like the backroom staff has it together. The team doctor, you get to know the team doctor. Like they got a group of professionals. I think that they're just really cautious as like an organization when it comes to injuries, which we know. We've always been like, why is that fucking dude hurt like all the time?
Yeah, that's another thing we'll have to overcome. Like we're going to get injuries. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be injuries to key players.
Totally.
But we can't have our best players be injured for like 80% of the season.
Where do you think that we're going to finish?
I'm going to say third.
I was thinking the same thing. I think that that's very obtainable.
Because City and Liverpool, you can't count them out. I think there's that era is starting to break up a little bit, but there's still a lot of quality. Darwin Nunez he scored 4 goals in one game in preseason. Like
people think he sucks though. There's a lot of like chatter out there that like, have you watched him? People are like, have you watched him play? The dude's garbage. He's not though. Like he's
I watched him play for Benfica, and I was like, this dude is nasty. And there was no links to him. Like it seemed like every team would have taken him. You know what I mean? But
yeah. No, I think you're right. I think that those two. I mean, City is undoubtedly going to be good.
Yeah. And City is like another boxing reference. They're like that dude who's like seems tired in round 1, but by round 12 they can go all day. You know what I mean? Like you break into the game, the more they like as the season goes on, they get stronger and stronger. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can't count them out.
Pep's really like worked in how to mentally get into their heads. He's mastered that part, like of how to grind the best out of the team, even after they haven't started great or something. So
yeah. And Chelsea there's a bad vibe around them, to be honest. They've got a million players. They've changing their entire team again. Like
Sterling.
if they do get Aubameyang and you're Kai Havertz, what are you thinking? You're just like,
Yeah.
oh well, I guess I'm expendable, you know? Like
Timo Werner's still there, right?
yeah, they're like openly trying to get rid of them. It's like they'll throw you under the bus at Chelsea. And I think you got to know that
Totally.
going there. Like you go there hoping that you just win a title, you know? But also I was thinking too, like, because there was some highlights on YouTube the other day, and it was like the team with like Florent Malouda, and like when they won the league, like no one remembers that team. You know what I mean? They've changed their team so many times in so many years. Like they just completely reshuffle their entire squad year after year. That it's like, oh, they won the league that year, but like no one. It doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal because those players are they legends at the club? I don't know.
I know they're.
Oh yeah,
they're
dude played.
That's the good point. Their system is very much like we don't really like care about this. We're just trying to win as many things. Like we don't really care about the personalities that are here.
No,
and that is one thing I admired about Arteta actually. Like what I started to like about him yesterday was he cared a lot more like personally about like the players individually and the individual relationships than necessarily just having like a good team. Like, and I didn't gather that from him before. Like I think he's a lot deeper than it sheds light onto, and maybe that's why Aubameyang thing blew up, because I do think there's some things that they've implemented that are like non-negotiable, like you said. And if you break that, you're not just breaking like your duty to the team, but like as like a personal relationship to him, like you're like stabbing him in the back. And I could see that with Aubameyang. Aubameyang's a tough personality. Like he's a big character. And I think like his ego is probably in the way a lot of the time.
And I also feel like doing like these team building exercises, he was probably like, this shit is lame as fuck. Like
totally.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go home. And Arteta's like,
shows up.
Right.
And he like shows up in his gold Lambo and is just super flashy. And like, I just don't think
I don't need to do all this shit. I don't need to do these mind games. I go out there, give me the ball and I'll score. Like give me a sick through ball and I'm going to chip the keeper, in the Bernabeu. Like I'll do that. But like, I don't want to hear do fucking word games and puzzles and shit.
What I will say is though, is like Rachel mentioned it last night. It was like, they look like they're like all having fun together and that they all like each other. And like, and all their other nothing, like in the Tottenham one and the Man City one, like the Man City one, they seem cool. Like all of them are friends. I didn't get the vibe. Like ours looks like a family. They look like they're like, that's my brother. And that's like I'm there with that dude. Like they're like more than friends. And I just didn't get the feel. Like the Tottenham one was very much like they were.
Tottenham seemed like they're like
they don't even like each other.
I go to work and then I leave and I don't talk to my coworkers outside of work.
Right. Totally.
Like
where
that's
ours
like I don't care. I don't care about that dude.
So maybe he's just been trying to build a team too, and like getting them to be on board and like getting to like I even watching it, like he likes Pepe. I did not gather that. Like I don't know what's up with the Pepe situation, but it looks like he gets along with him well and like likes him. And I wouldn't have gathered that.
Then put him on the left, for Christ's sake.
I know. I don't. It'll be interesting to see if he stays actually, because we got 2 weeks, 3 weeks left in the window.
I haven't heard any like offers or links or anything like.
I say we keep him and keep the depth right now, and just say fuck it, give him one more year at least to try it out.
I say keep him and try to get something true out of him. You know what I mean?
Play him in forward in the FA Cup. Play him in forward in the Europa League.
Yeah, put him in. He on the right is. It's just not his position. Like, can we please?
It's not. No.
Him getting the ball on the outside of his foot with two defenders already there, he has nowhere to go except through them, and that's just not going to happen in the EPL. But on the left, I would rate him to be able to beat someone down the line and get a whip in across at the least.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be an interesting little season coming up here. I'm stoked that it's starting tomorrow. I can't.
It's wild, but it's
I
already
got it time blocked. I'm busy tomorrow, 12 to 2. Don't call. Don't write.
silent. Yep.
I don't know. I think we could start if we start well tomorrow. Right, the buzz is only going to get better. Like
It's a good test. It's a good test because this is
and what they
squad.
They could actually contend in the Europa League. Like as much as I like Lacazette and even Aubameyang had a moment last year where he was like in a huge drought before all that stuff, and then Laka like went through phases. I just didn't feel that I think we're better off with a player like Gabriel Jesus, especially Lacazette. Like, even though I really like Laka, but like going into this with that type of forward, he's going to be devastating to other teams. Like, he's going to get goals that we wouldn't normally get. Like, he scored a couple in preseason where there was like nothing from it, and he like created the opportunity.
Yeah,
and I just think that we're going to be all right.
Yeah, he's dynamic, and if Arteta is like, you're allowed to be yourself, then he's obviously
Scary.
It's going to work out better than our other
Dude,
options.
he chipped Mendy in that Chelsea game, and it looked just like it looked like he was playing FIFA. Like he was like, I'm just.
I know, and that kind of like that hurt Chelsea. You know what I mean? They're like, dude, I just got chipped like a.
In the box. He was in the 18 when he chipped him. I mean, Xhaka's through ball to him was honestly like a dime on the first touch, which you were like, where did you learn how to do that?
Yeah. Again, I mean, if Xhaka's doing shit like that, you won't find me finding reasons to hate Xhaka. So
no, we don't. I don't think either one of us have wanted to not like him, especially with him being like a mainstay in the team. He makes too many mistakes. If he can clean that up, then sure, then fine.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'm sure we'll revisit this in a couple of weeks or something when we're maybe once the window's getting a little bit more closed.
Yeah, we can address it and after the first couple games.
See how the start.
I mean, the first 5
see how the start goes.
Are going to be really telling. I want 15 points.
We should do. They're all winnable games there.
I mean, if we don't get 15 points or at least 13, then there'll be questions as to whether this whole process is finally there, or there'll be questions.
Yeah.
I want to put the questions to bed, and I want to go forward. We're going to lose. We'll have the off game. We'll get injuries, but like, I want to have real confidence that this is the team.
Yeah, even if they lose, you want to make sure they're like doing what they should be doing. Sometimes you just lose football matches. That's like a part of it. And no one goes unbeaten all the way. So you just want to make sure they play the right way.
Yeah.
That the attitude is the right mentality. Some of the games last year, it was just frustrating to even turn up as a fan. You're like, well, I showed up as on my end. I didn't see you show up today.
I did my job. You do your job.
I did my part. I'm 5,000 miles away, and I made sure to make time for this and watch it. Don't make me regret it. If we lose, we lose. That's one thing. But
we're playing. There are those games where you just keep the goalies saving everything. You know what I mean? You say, that was a unlucky game. But games where it looks like, have these people even played together before?
Right.
Or like, do we even have a forward? Do we have any idea what we're doing? That has to get out of here.
And maybe we'll scalp a couple of the big teams this year too. Wouldn't it be something if we could beat City somehow?
I feel like there's cracks in Liverpool because they're tired after this run that they've been on. The way they play is so hard on their bodies. And City too, it's like, they lost they lost some quality players. Who knows? Holland, the way Holland, adapts will make a huge difference. They have enough reserves and enough quality and enough money to make up for it, but you have a generation where you're the best, and then eventually it goes away. So this might be one of those years where it starts to go down.
Yes, I mean, there's always like shifting things in football, and you never know who the team is. Like, I mean, Tottenham might be all right. Like them too. Like they're gonna be hitting up there. But I also like, they're like the same team as last year with Richarlison.
Yeah, they're always lurking, but you feel like what's the end product? Probably.
I don't think they're gonna. Yeah, and like with Liverpool, I think is gonna have a big adjustment with that Mane. I think bigger than they've. I mean, Mane
almost
psychologically.
Seriously, and almost psychologically, because they're like, why did Mane want to leave so bad? You know what I mean? I know. It puts those questions in people's minds of like, Mane was like, peace, I'm done here, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like, why was he so eager to do that? And he was clutch. He was a player who was like, out of nowhere, he'd make a dime ball pass or score a goal that was like, you had no right to score that. They're gonna miss that.
They are. That's gonna hurt. Darwin Nunez is gonna take a little bit to replace that whole situation. I think it's gonna be a fiery season. I just have a feeling. It's shaping up. Some of the big business. If you look at the transfers that have gone on this year, so many major players have moved this year.
It's wild. Barcelona, dude. Have you seen Barcelona? Like what kind of equity they've given up just so that they can have one transfer window? Like,
no, it's how did they even buy all these players?
Well, they sold the rights to their light images, their media. Like pretty much 75% owned by outside forces now, which is like, dude, so even if you win the Champions League, it's not like they give you $100 million for winning the Champions League.
Dude, I think that both them and Real mismanage the club so badly that they're in these like really dire financial positions. Like Barca has to do this even just to keep up with the beast that it's created, probably like globally.
Oh yeah.
Like they can't even maintain that type of situation, or probably Real was 900 million in debt a year and a half ago. That's probably still similar.
Yeah.
So that's crazy. All right. Well,
cool, man. Well, I'm sure we'll be texting back and forth tomorrow during the game, but
definitely. Come on, Arsenal.
We'll see. Yeah, let's do it. Like we have every reason to be hopeful. So we've said it before.
We've said it before. We were probably naive a couple years ago when we were really jazzed, but I think we saw that this group had some potential. I think we're actually kind of there a little bit more now. Like this team is they look like a team.
That's true. There's definitely positives. Like you can't deny it. And we just hope that they start to fulfill their potential on that.
I think we might get a win tomorrow. I'm gonna put that out there. Hopeful. I'm not gonna make any predictions. I'm just hopeful.
Yeah, I'd say if we can get a 3-1 victory, that'll be a statement to the rest of the league.
Oh, that'll be a start and a half for sure. People will be like, "Oh, damn! It wasn't a fluke in preseason."
Right.
So, all right. Well, we'll chat tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
All righty. Peace.
Thanks for joining the Roons Mizz